Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. And next, double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the great millstone, who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to all you sincere Akim. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless whether we're here, whether they forbear. All right, this lesson is going to be a reaction from a video clip off of the Arrows of Indignation channel. Okay, he's a brother always posting different current events, okay, world news, anything that pertains to biblical prophecy. All right, and this particular video that I have here on the bottom right corner of the screen is a video where they're talking about how the United States military is having a hard time with recruiting people. Okay, and I'm going to go into the scriptures and line up with prophecy. Okay, what's getting ready to happen, all right, with the militaries of the world, and why they're having a hard time recruiting young people. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the scriptures. All right.
Your sons and daughters are going to go to war again. 100%. And it's going to probably be for some bullshit reason to make the elites richer.
And I mean, look at the recruiting crisis that we're having right now. We can get into why that's happening. We have a recruiting crisis right now. That's out in front. Everybody's seeing that right now. That's in the news. But we're also provoking a war on multiple fronts. So just because we haven't had a draft in any of our lifetimes, like, that doesn't mean people still don't register for selective service. People still register for selective service. Like, people will say, hey, he's crazy, he's fear-mongering. I'm just saying, look at the facts. Look at how many conflicts we have brewing, plus our recruiting crisis here at home. Easily the law of unintended consequences. Like, we could get into a shooting war in one of these theaters pretty easily. So there's all these different pressure points where if one thing happens that we're not anticipating, or somewhat of a black swan event, we could easily be in a war, and you've got a depleted military. And so you're completely right when you...
Okay. All right. So, he's saying, and that's exactly what we've been saying. Look at all these different pressure points. Okay. And why is this happening? Why is this happening? Because it's the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. It's the judgment of the day of the Lord, man. Okay. This is Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." All right, so why is there all these different pressure points, as he called them, proxy wars? Okay, why are all these things happening? Because the Most High, he is the one that is controlling the minds of the kings of the earth to bring them into World War III, also known as Armageddon. All right, this is Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 21. Okay, that's Slakia. This ain't what I wanted. Hang on. What is that scripture? Slakia, hang on. I'll find it. Might be 21 and 11, actually. Oh, 21 and 1, Salakia. Okay, Proverbs 21 and 1. It says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Most High, Yahweh." Whenever you see all caps like that, Lord, it's Yahweh. "As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will." All right, so he is controlling the minds of the kings to bring them into war. All right, to gather them up for World War III. All right, so that being said, that's the reason why we're seeing these different things happening. Okay, and now, a lot of people, a lot of young men, they don't want to go to war. Okay, and if you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, what do you really have to look forward to, in America? There was a time where, and there was never really a time for the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians to have hope in Babylon the Great, but for the, for the average, so-called white man, okay, America, was the country that they built. They took pride in it, and they had something to look forward to, the quote-unquote American dream, okay, at least for the so-called white man. But even now, all right, Esau is making it so bad with his greed, all right, that now even the common white so-called white man doesn't have really anything to fight for. Okay, I mean, unless you come from a uber rich family, which there's very few of those left. I mean, at this point, or at least even middle class. At this point, it's either you're pretty much that at the upper class, or you're on the complete opposite of that. Most people are barely struggling, barely affording to get by on life. All right, they're barely making it. All right, the middle class is slowly uh, dissipating, slowly being destroyed, and it's either you're rich or you're poor. All right, and historically, the rich never have really sent, they never really wanted to send their children off to war. All right, it was always the middle class and the poor, but the middle class is being destroyed. All right, and then the poor, the hopes of achieving the American dream are looking more and more grim. So the poor have really no reason to fight, no matter what race you come from, so-called white, black, Latino, Native American, Indian. All right, and that's just because the greed of Esau. All right, the elites. All right, the hyperinflation. Even the Edomites that are running these corporations. Okay, their greed is destroying America, Babylon the Great. All right, which we understand prophecy. We understand it's all the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But yeah, that's why they're having a hard time recruiting, because the American dream is pretty much dead. Back then, like I said, maybe you had a chance at achieving the quote unquote American dream. You had something to fight for. But nowadays, I mean, they're even talking about taking away Social Security. All this money that millions and millions and millions of young Americans put into each and every time that we get a paycheck. Money is deducted for Social Security. All right, that's being taken. They're even talking about taking that away, which is money that we actually earned. They're just gonna swipe it. Okay, so I mean, what are we really fighting for, right? What are we really fighting for? You can't afford to own a home in the vast majority of American cities. All right, most young people are having to live with their parents, even into their 30s. So I mean, there's really no incentive. Okay.
It could be your sons and daughters, because there's people who are like, oh, my kids aren't going to join the military. Like, well, they're still registering for the draft, aren't they? Like, that's the logical conclusion to the direction that we're heading in right now, unless we make some serious changes.
The Army, the Navy, the Air Force are all expecting to miss their recruitment goals by thousands this year. For the Army would mark a shortfall for the second year in a row. It's expecting 55,000 active duty recruits. That's 10,000 more than last year, but still below its target of 65,000. And it's not for a lack of trying. Branches of the military have recently eased up on restrictions on tattoos, pre-service marijuana use, and even physical fitness. According to an investigation by the Military Times, at least 1 in 6 recruits were given waivers to enter their service last fiscal year. That's the highest number in a decade. But officials say a bigger problem is a lack of interest. The Army's Vice Chief of Staff told lawmakers last month that for many people, military service seems like a life setback instead of a life accelerator.
Company, forward! Our military is in crisis, an overwhelming issue blatantly apparent in recruitment centers across the country, which, despite offering lucrative signing bonuses of up to $100,000 in tuition reimbursement opportunities for soldiers, spouses, and children, are still struggling to sign new soldiers.
All right. So it said that even with sign-on bonuses of up to $100,000 and tuition reimbursement, okay, like I said, it all goes back to there's a lack of hope in America, Babylon the Great, man. All right, that's what it comes down to. Okay, because even if if you go to college, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a promising career, all right, or that you're going to ever be able to afford a home, or like you see, the college debt, okay, which they're talking about tuition reimbursement. But still, I mean, you can spend 4 to 6 years of your life, in school, and get out and then still be working at Walmart or something like that. I mean, that's a lot of people's reality, are being a server. Okay, that's a lot of people's reality. The American dream of, you go and get an education, maybe a trade, doesn't guarantee. Now, trades are more lucrative, all right, but at the end of the day, there's pretty much the chances of quote unquote making it in America are getting slimmer and slimmer. All right. And that's the reason why we're seeing this. People have, it's like you pretty, most people, most young people understand that at this point, no matter what they do, all right, that there is a small chance of quote unquote making it in America, of achieving the American dream. All right. So you have nothing to fight for. Okay. You got nothing to fight for. All right. So that's the reason why I got this precept right here pulled up, Jeremiah 51:30. It says, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. All right. And that word forborne, it means, oh, okay, let's look it up here in the dictionary. All right. It doesn't, okay, for some reason, can't get a definition on it. So I could bear with me. Okay, it means to politely or patiently restrain or to refrain from. Okay, so they have refrained from joining this war, this fight. All right. So the mighty men of Babylon have refrained to fight. They have remained in their holds, all right, their homes. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places, and her bars are broken. Okay, and that's what's going to be the result of it, because we already have, whether young Americans want to fight or not, all right, the fight is going to be brought to us. Okay, there's no escaping it. It's all the will of Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai. All right, this place is it's going to be pretty much ransacked. Okay, that's in the prophecies. Let's go ahead and get that right quick. All right, no matter what happens, the fight is going to come to young Americans. All right, and to all the people of America. This is Nahum chapter 3, and let's see, Nahum chapter 3 and verse boom. Okay. Nahum chapter 3 and verse 11. It says, thou also shalt be drunken, thou shalt be hid, thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy. All right, now this is speaking of the Assyrians, all right, the Assyrian captivity. That's who was written to, but the same thing is going to happen here in America, Babylon the Great. All right, and America is spiritual Nineveh, spiritual Assyria, our spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, now how do we know this? Because Vocab, he tried to do a video talking about how the Israelites spiritually attribute America to different captivities and all that, but that's true. It tells you, let's get the precept right quick. It tells you, Revelation 11:8, that this place is known of as spiritual Sodom and Egypt. All right, and it's also, like I said, likened unto spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, spiritual the daughter of Babylon. It calls it that directly in Isaiah 47, Jeremiah 50. Okay, so this place has many different titles. All right, many different titles, and spiritual Nineveh and spiritual Syria are one of those titles. Okay, so that being said, like I said, America, it is attributed to these different captivities because it spiritually represents those places, because it carries on the same acts as those places. All right, like we just read up Revelation 11:8. Okay, why is it called spiritual Sodom in Egypt? Spiritual Sodom because this is the place of sexual confusion. All right, spiritual Egypt because this is the place of our captivity. All right, and Nineveh or Syria was the land of captivity for the northern kingdom. All right, and in America is that same place today. Okay, America is the land of captivity for the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom alike, which is why it is attributed to spiritual Babylon and spiritual Assyria. Okay, just want to break that down real quick. But it says, Nahum 3:13, behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars. Okay, and that's exactly what is going to happen. Okay, our gates have already been set wide open with the quote-unquote border crisis. The quote-unquote border crisis that we've been having. Let's get Isaiah 13. It tells you, and this is going into the daughter of Babylon. All right, I'm going to read in the NLT. And we know it's talking about the daughter of Babylon because if you read all the way through this whole chapter, it tells you that Babylon shall never be inhabited again. Well, ancient Babylon was attacked, all right, by the Persians and the Medes, but you still have people there to this day. So this judgment is talking about the daughter of Babylon, which is spoken of in Jeremiah 50, okay, where the children of Israel came and they were oppressed together, all 12 tribes, southern and northern kingdom. That's how we know it's talking about America. All right, but this is Isaiah 13 and verse let's see, Isaiah 13 and 14 in the NLT. It says, "Everyone in Babylon will run about like a hunted gazelle, like sheep without a shepherd. They will try to find their own people and flee to their own land. Anyone who is captured will be cut down and run through with a sword. Their little children will be dashed to death before their eyes. Their homes will be sacked, and their wives," you see what it says, okay? Their wives are going to be taken. So this is what's going to happen, okay? The war is going to come to the United States no matter what. All right, there's really no escaping it. And it's going to be hit from all sides, like the guy said, different pressure points. All right, multiple different wars. Like you got the war going on with the Israelis and the Palestinians, which is quickly becoming the Western world, which backs the Israelis, versus the Eastern world, okay, of the Muslims, backed by Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia, the main enemy, the main and largest threat to the United States safety and security. Okay, so it's quickly becoming World War III. All right, so there's really no escaping it. Okay, let's go back to that Jeremiah 50:51. I don't think I read all the way through. Let me go ahead and read it again, and then we'll continue on with the video. You have Jeremiah 51 and 35. It says, "The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken." Okay, so it ain't going to be no escaping this thing, man. All right, the only escape is going to be for those that are the elect. That's why in Daniel, the 12th chapter, verse, the Archangel Michael's going to come down and defend the elect, because if not, it says that this time is going to be so bad that no flesh would survive. Okay, according to Matthew, the 24th chapter. He's going to shorten the time. All right, it's either Matthew 24 or Matthew 10. But anyways, let's continue on the video.
Recruiting isn't up. Over the past few years, the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines have struggled to meet their goals. In 2022, the Army missed that mark by 15,000 people, a full 25% short of its target. In 2023, the Army projects a 10,000 soldier shortfall. Likewise, the Navy wants to bring aboard 50,000 active duty and reserve recruits this year.
We are challenged by the fact that a small number of young Americans, 23%, are qualified to serve. Fewer still, we're finding, are interested in serving. And that's something that we are working very hard to change.
Former Green Beret John Spears fought in Vietnam. He points to a number of reasons why the decline is so significant.
Who makes that decision to join the military, that they're somehow taking a less desirable pipeline to success.
To meet its quotas, some branches of the U.S. military are making concessions for recruits who could have once been disqualified.
You are no longer a civilian.
Like the Navy, which may offer waivers to those with previous drug use, have a history of mental illness, or who scored low on aptitude tests if they believe their candidate could still be molded into a quality sailor. But the sudden acceptance of once considered subpar recruits begs a serious question.
This is democracy.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, this is what we're coming down to. And honestly, I don't blame them, because pretty much, if you go to war, and that's another thing too. A lot of young men know that if they go to war in this time against Russia, that they're not coming back. All right. It's going to be major losses taken on both sides. Russia is demolishing the Ukraine to where they're just grabbing people up and saying, hey, putting an AK-47 in their hand, hey, you're going to war. All right. That's what it's going to be. But at the end of the day, they're trying to avoid the sword coming down upon them, and they can't avoid it. All right. This is Isaiah 34th chapter. In verse 1, it says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Most High Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter." Okay, so it's just going to be a meat grinder, like what you see going on with the Ukraine. All the young men are just pretty much being taken off. They're grabbing them up, and they're being put to flight. Okay, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. and all the hosts of the heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. This is a mushroom cloud, and that's why it says their blood, the mountains shall be melted with their blood, because this war is going to be a war of fuel and burning of fire. All right, it says, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf faileth from off the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Okay, so there's no escaping it. No matter how many, even if you were able to fulfill your recruiting numbers, all right, it's just more meat, for the grinder. Okay, verse 6. The sword of the Lord Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with the fatness and with the blood of the lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of the rams. For the Most High Yahweh has a sacrifice in Basra. All right, Basra was the chief city of Esau, Edom back then. Okay, America represents that today. And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Idumea is another word, the Greek word for Esau. Okay, so there you go. There you have it. All right, that's, there's really no escaping it. Okay, the only ones that are going to escape are the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, if you're not, you're not an Israelite, you're pretty much cooked. All right, and if you're not an Israelite of the elect, you're pretty much cooked. All right, that's what it is. So I'm gonna close out with that. Lord's will is edifying. As always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash, and double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the great millstone, who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to all you sincere Akim. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of what people hear, whether they forbear. All right, this is the time we're coming into. Okay, it's inevitable. All you can do is pray to the Most High. All right, in the proper names, in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, that He delivers you in that day. That's what we're coming into. All right, so with that being said, Shalom and a Bible ball.